What is up, everybody? I'm here to give my thoughts on the ABBA versus Stevie Knight debate. And I'll be the first one to tell you that I think Stevie lost. Now, I think it's kind of immature when people go like, oh, ABBA destroyed him. He got owned. Man, like, I honestly think ABBA did win the debate as ABBA has experience with this. And I think ABBA actually did take more of a factual way of doing it versus how Stevie is obviously very emotional about the whole Charlie Kirk situation. So he was actually responding out of feelings. And I think where he messed up the most was when ABBA said, pull up the stats, right? And Stevie was like, man, that's cap. I don't got to pull up the stats. I'm like, bro, aren't you the same one that does the whole facts over feelings thing? I know Ben Shapiro's the one that like popularized that quote. However, Stevie does say that quite a bit, and I think he even has merch that says facts over feelings. But I do think that the response to it was a bit dramatic because people that like Stevie were maybe they were already on the fence because not one singular thing should make you unsubscribe from somebody. So people were like, "Oh man, you disappointed me in this debate. I thought you were better than this. I thought you were smarter. I'm unsubbing." Yeah, man, I had to unsubscribe to you, man. That was poor, man. I had to unsubscribe, and I don't know. Some people are just so fickle that they leave after one thing. Like even during the ABBA and Preach video with the first video they did on Charlie Kirk, I didn't particularly like how that video was presented. And I'm a fan of ABBA and Preach, but I didn't unsub. I was just like, I didn't like this video. You know what I mean? And then, but other people were like, "Yo, man, I'm unsubbing after this. I lost your respect, man. It's over." I'm like, bro, why are people so fickle? I think that's just people wanting to stay in their echo chambers. And I will say, like, I do think it's cool that they had a cool debate. It did get emotional at some points. You can see ABBA got heated at times. Not like he lost control, but it got like a little heated. Like he was so dumbfounded about the whole school lunch and kid starvation take that Stevie did. And I think ABBA just uploaded another video about that. And Stevie really got emotional towards the end where he was like, come on, man, you encyclopedia. I was like, oh, dang. But I'm not going to clown anyone for getting emotional in debate because we all get emotional about certain topics. It's just human nature, man. You know what I mean? The only reason why people are using it against Stevie is because he constantly does the whole facts over feelings thing, and he definitely got in his feelings. But it's it's natural. But I will say that debates are cool because they really. Well, sometimes I don't like debates because I left a comment one before I even watched the whole debate. I was like, I don't like debates because everybody just sides with who they like more. You know what I mean? They just want to hear their thoughts being presented, and they're just gonna go with who they already agree with. So this is very counterproductive. But now, because Stevie's video, his version, it immediately started with everyone saying that he destroyed ABBA, but then later down the road, I guess when people actually watched it, you see more people going with ABBA, which is the majority of people saying ABBA got it, and even I would say so. And I'll be the first one to say that I initially agreed with what Charlie Kirk said about the whole school lunches thing and how it shouldn't be up to the government, it should be up to the parents. You know what I mean? Like it's the parents that shouldn't let their kids starve. The parents should feed them, and kids should never go hungry because their parents should feed them, and it's the parents' fault if they don't feed them. And even though I still somewhat agree that parents obviously should feed their children, but Abba did bring up the point where he was like, that's not always the case. You know what I mean? Like there's some children that get neglected and not fed, and they have to be in school for 7 or 8 hours, and then not get fed there either. And I'm just like, that makes a good point. And I saw other people saying like, so you're telling me you wouldn't want school to feed your children, but like, because kids have to go to school, they have no choice. But prisoners, they get fed. Prisoners get fed, and the majority of them, if not all, for the most part, are there because of their own decisions. You understand? But kids are forced to go to school, right? And not being fed. And I really thought about it because I remember whenever I was in school. So I went to this one school where if you didn't have lunch money, they would just give you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. They give you something. But there was this time when I went to a different school, and if you didn't have money, you just did not get fed. And one time, the lunch lady even went out of her way to pay for my lunch because she just like, this don't make no sense that they're not gonna feed kids. And I don't know how I completely forgot about that. Just this topic maybe remember that memory. I wasn't poor or anything. It's not that I couldn't afford the school lunch. It was just because I forgot it was time to pay that day, or I forgot that I didn't have any money on my my lunch account anymore. I no longer had a balance on there. I had forgot. But yeah, I don't think anything. I think the debate was pretty fine. Obviously, there were some hit and misses there. Obviously, Stevie was emotional, but he still is after the situation, and he's still looking up and making Charlie Kirk videos. So yeah, I don't think this is anything worthy of unsubscribing for or getting mad about. You can be a little upset about somebody's performance, but I don't know. I'm just a regular dude, and I guess that's just me being older. Maybe if I was like younger, 19, then I would be like, okay, he got destroyed, yada yada yada. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it went pretty well, and there were definitely some hiccups in it, but you know, debating is not really Stevie's thing. You know what I mean? He's used to talking to himself or talking to the audience, you know, because there are times where I don't like what he says, and there are times where I don't like what Abba and Preach say, and that's just how it is. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. You're not always going to agree with everybody on everything. All right, but yeah, that's my thoughts on the debate, and yeah, all right, see ya.